Padres have everybody in baseball fooled. I want to talk about our secret weapon, Ramon Laureano, and why I think he might be the best acquisition, not just this year, but in the history of the franchise, at the very least at the trade deadline. What's going on, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Padres Digest. Thank you very much for tuning into the show that is emotionally struggling with the fact that we're back to being behind the Dodgers. But hey, if you're emotionally struggling as well, it's a good opportunity for you to drop a comment, hit a follow. It would be much appreciated and all of that. If not, no worries. You saw me at the beginning talking about Ramon Laureano. I want to talk more about this deal and why I think that it kind of fooled everybody into thinking that like this is not the Padres settling for this was not the Padres picking up Ryan O'Hearn. This was not the Padres settling for a fix when there were other options. This is not the Padres lost out on the Jarren Duran, so they got second. Like this to me right here, and I want to talk about this, is a trade that I think, like I said at the beginning, is the best. I could not find a better trade deadline acquisition in my Googling. Maybe there is one. That's where I ask you guys to drop a comment, but I'm not going to say he's the greatest trade in franchise history. I think the Fernando Tatis James Shildt deal still has that one edged out, but I think that this one right here is rapidly climbing up that number. Show you his numbers this season. He is hitting not just well, he is hitting clutch. He is providing moments of much needed jolts, be it a game-winning double or a home run or something like that. There have been multiple Ramon Laureano in a month of him being here. There have been multiple big-time moments where he has risen to the occasion. He's hitting well. He is a left fielder that we were all looking for a left fielder this year. And to pick him up for guys who, yes, 4 of the top 30 prospects, but to pick up a 300, a left fielder who hits 300 and hits well in clutch moments, because I see you guys all say that like Arraez is overrated. Yeah, he's got a great batting average, but like, okay, so there are some guys that hit well when it doesn't matter. Ramon Laureano seems to hit well exclusively when it matters. But to pick up a guy like that in a deal where I think that Ryan O'Hearn, maybe this is my lack of baseball attunement, because we did need a left fielder, but Ryan O'Hearn being an all-star this year felt like the primary piece in this acquisition. So when I'm saying Padres got everybody fooled, I'm looking at this piece right now, and I'm looking, like I said at the beginning, of us being we're a game and a half back in the Dodgers as of me recording this. It did somewhere between a half game and 2.5 back probably by the time you are watching this. But I think that Ramon Laureano hitting the way that he is hitting is the secret sauce right now for the Padres, given that we might add Michael King back. There is a chance that Michael King still comes back and is the ace, but ultimately, Padres aren't pitching real well this year. Dylan Cease has not flipped it in the second half and like turned some switch and just been a killer all of a sudden. Sears, Nestor, okay, like serviceable. Darvish is okay, not looking fantastic. Nick Pavetta's having a great season, but just Nick Pivetta having a great season doth not make us a pitching team. So all in all, the starting pitching is not doing very well. That being said, I think some of us factored an improvement in the starting pitching into our formula of how the Padres were going to end up winning deep into the postseason. And I have an addendum to make to that. I think that the only thing that the Padres need is this. Maybe not the only thing, because obviously if it's just Ramon Laureano hitting and the rest of the team not hitting, that's not a winning formula. But I think that the Padres, with their pitching struggles and recent inabilities to beat the Dodgers, has people thinking that they're not a serious, deep contender for championship potential. But I think that acquiring Ramon Laureano and putting these numbers into an offense that has needed a jolt all season long has proved to be the exact catalyst we need. You look at the recent scores. The Padres drop a stinker every now and then, but the games that they lose, they're still in. And I would argue that starting pitchers will have a shorter leash come postseason, combined with maybe we get Michael King back and it's a King and Pivetta go 1-2. Then everybody beyond 1 and 2, if they can give you 4 or 5, run our bullpen into the ground, sure, but you've got enough guys that it's not like we're running some scrubs out there. We're running a really good bullpen into the ground. But if you don't need, like, if there is no tomorrow, if the season is ending, you don't need to hold on to those guys to, like, save them for the whole, like, oh, it's a long year. Like, no, what I'm saying is that if we've got a couple of pitchers at the front that are pitching pretty well and then everyone else is trash, I'm not worried about that, given that we have this. We have an offensive spark plug that this, combined with Manny, combined with Nando, combined with Xander, like, everybody is in aggregate hitting better. I think that means the Padres can play to their strengths in the postseason, can play to, like I said, shorten the rotation, get those guys out of there with a short hook, pitch the bullpen, and let that offense really keep cooking. And I think games like the Mariners series where, like, we were up 5-0, and then the Cease ends up letting them back in. Like, they could have yanked Cease so much quicker and probably won that game in a postseason setting. And again, I'm not saying it is singularly only because of Mr. Ramon Laureano, but this guy right here is a huge help and is, I think, has everybody fooled into thinking that where people think the Padres are having issues of their inability to have good starting pitching. We can't beat the Dodgers in a series. Like, oh, they're not real serious contenders. I think that we are more serious contenders than anybody in baseball thinks, because we have the offense. It's starting to hit consistently. We're going to get pieces back like Jackson Merrill off the IL. I think that between now and the end of the season, I did a video on this, we have one of, if not the easiest schedules in all of baseball. That's only going to contribute to getting guys hot. And then once we get into the postseason, like I said, we flip the script on the pitching staff, and then everybody's like, "Oh, the Padres, their starting pitching was all awful, and they couldn't beat the Dodgers and whatever." Like, and we just end up just starting to steamroll people because we're hitting again and we're crushing the ball. And then, like I said, the pitching situation gets fixed via we just go to the bullpen more. We go to the bullpen quicker, and I think that all comes back to the beautiful, beautiful trade that we made for Ramon Laureano. I want to pull that up one more time so you can all just enjoy. Drop a comment. Honestly, let me know if you think that the Padres have made like a better trade deadline deal. But this might, if we end up going deep into the playoffs and he keeps hitting this well, I don't know. Maybe it's blasphemy to say that this could be better than the Tatis trade. Maybe not. I don't know. Let me know. Drop a comment. And like I said at the beginning, if you want to hit the subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. But if not, no worries. Talk to you guys soon.